Thank you, and we'll begin questioning. Ms. Renton, thank you. A comment more than a question. Thanks for making the point that the goal of tax reform isn't simply broadening the base or the effect on demand, but ought to be measured by the incentives to invest, because that drives job creation consistently in this country. Mr. Mastromarco, the fair tax seeks to replace a number of taxes: the personal income tax, the corporate tax, payroll taxes, gift and death taxes, with a single stage retail sales tax. Since the title of this hearing is, can tax reform boost job creation, can you talk a moment about what you believe will be the impact on our economy as a result of the fair tax, and who would be impacted by the change to that system? If you could hit your microphone, make sure that's on.
The way in which we can think of the fair tax is as having a Roth and a regular IRA all combined, where the earnings are not taxed. Think about investment in business that is both pre-payroll and pre-income tax, where then the business can grow with its earnings tax-free. The business can be sold tax-free. What it does is go back to a theory of Dr. Irving Fisher many years ago, that income really isn't income until it's consumed. And it does not tax productive income. And so let me show a chart, if I will, that we have that was done by Beacon Hill Institute. The fair tax, Chairman Brady, is a tax that is a proposal that has been the most researched plan, I venture to say, in the history of the United States, certainly one of the most popular plans. But this is the economic effects according to David Turk of the Beacon Hill Institute. Real GDP grows in all of the years, year 5, year 1, year 10. Jobs increases, investment, and wages. And the chart that you looked at earlier, that you put up there, showed that the wages increase as a result of capital investment. Capital stock increases. That's what increases wages. Farmers are not more efficient today than they were at the turn of the century because they work harder hours, longer hours. They're more efficient because they have tractors and capital to work with. And this capital comes in the form of investment, and it comes in the flow of intellectual capital. And what the fair tax does is relieves the tax on that capital entirely.
Thank you. And can you address for a moment the revenue neutral issue? We sometimes see all sorts of numbers fly around about what the fair tax is from a revenue neutral standpoint. Can you address that?
I will address that, and I appreciate that question. I think it's a very large question because it opens the door to a criticism of the way in which revenue estimating and analysis is done in this country. You know, tax reform, the raison d'etre of tax reform is supposed to be economic growth, real wages. The things we're talking about today are important. And yet, when the Joint Tax Committee comes up with their estimates, such as the rate of the fair tax, we close our eyes to the economic growth. We say we don't want to hear this. We want to just look at the static estimates. And we don't know whether the Joint Tax Committee has analyzed the fair tax, because the Joint Tax Committee operates with secrecy that rivals the CIA. They should be disclosing to you their spreadsheets. Here's how we came up with it. We are scientists. We believe in our answer. We came up with the right answer, so we can accept the criticism of it. That's the way the Joint Tax Committee should function. And the Joint Tax Committee should not function by simply giving you a static estimate as if all tax cuts and increases are created equal, which they most certainly are not.
May I ask, and we are closing out on time, but is the 23% rate in the fair tax revenue neutral?
It is, sir. As a matter of fact, if the fair tax had been adopted last year, we would have $267 billion more in our federal coffers than we do today.
Thank you, sir. Chairman Casey?
Thanks very much. Dr. Stone, I wanted to start